Well, this is simple. But for those that want to, please do. This is the reason why I did. I became a father at 24 and immature. I mean, if you 24 and got it all figured out, then more power to you. I didn't. But I had just graduated from college, and I had met my then children's mother in college, and the relationship, yeah, I can say it got tumultuous, to say the least. But throughout parenting with her, a lot of things went down where I just couldn't trust it. And I remember after we broke up and she moved back to her hometown, I went to legal aid and I was trying to figure out how to establish visitation. And in my territory, child support court and family court are two separate courts. Visitation is not set up through child support. That's completely two separate courts. And family court is dealt through a mediator before it even goes. It's like you have to come to some agreement with a mediator and then a judge signs off on it, which meant that even in my territory, CPS child support services, they don't have to tell the father even where your child is located. It's not one of those states where you need both parents' consent to even take a child out of state. There are some states where you have to get both parents' consent to, if you want to take a child on a trip or take them out of state, anything like that. So you kind of know where your child is at all times. But in my territory, in Tuscarora, no, it's not like that at all. So you got two separate courts. So you have child support court and family court. And family court goes to a mediator before it actually goes into court. So you have to meet with a mediator and whatever terms that are agreed upon, then you can move forward. But that was the issue. That was my issue. Because I knew that if it wasn't a court order mandate, and even if it's court order in my territory, the other parent doesn't have to actually follow it. Not at all. So this would have been based on her basically keeping her word. And through my experiences of dealing with her or my children at the time, she was preventing everything. Like I would call, change numbers. It was very cloak and dagger. It was so suspect because I'm here, I'm a dad, I'm not denying my children or anything like that. I want to see them, all this type of stuff, but she wouldn't let it happen. So I went to legal aid to find out, the procedure of, getting visitation or like that. And just the fact that it had to go through a mediator, meaning she had to agree upon it and then hold her word. I'm like, she ain't, who you dealing with. You just know who you dealing with. Like she is not going to do that because she had another life. And I didn't care about the other life. I wasn't the type of baby daddy to be like, you better not, you do what you do. I do what I do. You stay on your side, I stay on mine. But I remember, this is no cap. I remember at, I was 28. I was 28 years old. And I remember finding out she was pregnant at the time, supposedly with our second child. I say supposedly, that's another story. But at the time, supposedly with our second child, and I remember I got on my knees I ain't even BSing. Like, this is some simple shit. I don't give a fuck. I was trying to be a dad. So I got on my knees and I begged this woman. I said, look, and we wasn't in a relationship at the time. We was not in a relationship. We had broken up. And I got on my knees and I begged this woman. I'm like, would you just please, can we please just, raise these kids and, just, let's just, I won't, I ain't want no beef with her. I wanted to get along with her. I ain't had no problems with her, nothing like that. Regardless of how our relationship went, so be it. But I knew that, us being together, that didn't work. I said, but look, I want to be a dad. You know what I mean? We already got, a child, a daughter. So like, and I wanted a son real bad at that time. At that particular time, I felt like I needed a son so badly. And I please, I begged her. And 3 weeks after the child was born, she moved. It was a typical thing with her. It happened many times. She had moved 7, 8 times in a year or two. She was she was an army brat. So her getting up, picking up and moving was nothing. You know what I mean? It was nothing. Got places all over the damn United States. But that ain't my life. And I had to be in one place to make sure I was going to be a dad to these children. And to be completely honest, I personally, if anyone came and asked me, and this might be a simple thing, but if someone ever came and asked me, is that, when was the last time your children's mom, that you can remember, kept her word or didn't lie or whatever? I do not remember. I don't remember what year that was. I don't remember the year, month, or I don't remember. And to the point where I don't know if it ever even existed, because I never really knew her. You know what I'm saying? Even we had children, I didn't know her, and that's my fault or whatever. I accept that accountability, but to be there for them children day one, yeah, right there, I'm right here. I never, so knowing that she know I wanted to be a dad, but she was preventing for whatever reason. I feel like it's some other underlying reason, but nevertheless, playing with children, their upbringing, it really devastated me in a whole nother way. I had to rebuild myself, but I didn't fight because I just didn't want her to keep moving my children all around. My daughter was getting up into, she was about to get into school age, she was about to start kindergarten at the time. And I felt like if I keep trying to fight just to see these children, she's going to have my children all over God's creation. I mean, she did, nevertheless. But it was, I couldn't control that. I can't control where she go. I can't control where she take the children. Who the hell am I call? Ghostbusters? There's nothing I could do. And to have to depend on her word to be able to see them, I couldn't depend on her word to even be able to talk to my children. I mean, the last time I tried to even contact, one time, not the last time, but one time I called my daughter on her birthday, and they just wouldn't let me speak to her. And for anyone to ever experience shit like that, I'm sorry for you too. Shit like that fucks with you. It makes you always feel like you're not good enough, like you're not even good enough to see or to raise your kids, to be a part of your kids' life, because someone else has determined what you can and can't do, and you have no rights. And it's a big fight, it's a big type of fight, and it's when I don't wish on my worst enemy. I mean, to have life after you, and as a baby daddy having to deal with some of the things you got to deal with. It's like it ain't like a second. It's like a third class citizen. It's very low. It's very low on totem pole to something that is the most important. Your children, I can't say a wife because I'm not married, so my children was the most important thing. But that's why I didn't fight. It was nothing that could be. there was no foundation that it could be stood on. It's like if it had to be depending on her word, and I know her word ain't nothing, and she got other issues going on at times. So I just figured if I didn't fight, she wouldn't take my kids all over God's creation. I knew they needed stability. They needed something solid so they can grow strong. As a dad, I just think about the future. I think about tomorrow. I think about what needs to happen, and I feel like the best thing I could do was to stand down and always have my door open, even though they never walked through. It was always open.